Hello, welcome back. Time now for business news. I'm joined on set by Will Edwards. Hello, Will.
Hi, Louise.
So we're beginning here in France, and the government are taking some flack for its economic policies.
That's right. In recent days, France has been referred to in the press as the sick man of Europe, something Wolfgang Schäuble, the German finance minister, has had to deny. And The Economist, the magazine, has been putting the boot in as well, saying that France is the time bomb at the heart of Europe. Now, it's true that perhaps France, its economy isn't quite on such good form at the moment, but yesterday it did see better than expected growth figures, and the French government has been reacting and giving its point of view.
France is on a press offensive. The message: their economy isn't the sick man of Europe.
We need to stop this French bashing. We need to not get discouraged. We have a strong economy.
The fight to rebuild our economy, to restart growth has started, and we won't back down.
They're responding to this Friday's Economist cover story that calls France the time bomb at the heart of Europe and accuses the French economy of being the biggest threat to the European single currency, citing stagnant growth, high unemployment and a huge trade deficit as its greatest worries. They aren't the only one to attack Paris's economic policies. Already on Monday, one of Germany's main newspapers, Bild, headlined on whether France is the new Greece. Officially, Germany is backing François Hollande and his government, but in private, many have their doubts.
We don't think we'll see the necessary reforms in France and that they won't be implemented fast enough.
Recent data shows that the French economy grew by 0.2% in the third quarter of this year, better than was forecast and well above the Eurozone average that saw a contraction of 0.1% during the same period. France is also borrowing funds at record low interest rates, proving that investors aren't too worried just yet.
But still, Will, if France is going to improve its competitiveness, it's really got to give itself a kick in the right direction.
It does, but unfortunately on that front, there have been more setbacks than advances so far. Earlier this week, François Hollande, the president, he laid out hopes for a grand bargain, he called it, between the unions and employers to come to some sort of deal on improving competitivity, making it perhaps easier for employers to hire and fire. Now, the first negotiations on that front took place on Thursday. They didn't go so well. Employers suggested a number of changes, including making layoffs easier in times of trouble. The unions, perhaps needless to say, didn't like that idea. Some large employers, such as Renault, are going it alone and just negotiating with their own employees, and they're hoping that the threat of moving jobs abroad at the end of the day will help give them some leverage over the unions.
OK, we'll have to wait and see. OK, well, talk us through the markets then.
Well, let's take a look at how the US markets closed yesterday. And actually, there were disappointing figures yesterday from Walmart, which didn't help, and other retailers as well. Also, industrial output figures showed falls in areas affected by Hurricane Sandy. And, of course, that Eurozone recession news, the fact that the Eurozone is now officially back in recession for a second quarter. Let's have a look at how things are going over in Asia at the moment, meanwhile. And it's, well, pretty flat on the Hang Seng, and the Shanghai Composite is down in the red, but the Nikkei is surging ahead, now up 2.2%. And that's continued optimism on a possible new government in Japan when elections take place, snap elections in December.
OK, well, going back to Wall Street, Will, and why was computer maker Dell one of the stocks that disappointed?
Well, they put out their earnings for the third quarter, and they were down by nearly half for that period. And since the start of the year, actually, the company's share price has been falling by almost a third. It's really feeling the effects of the smartphone and tablet revolution because, of course, Dell specializes in traditional desktop and laptop computers. They really aren't selling so well. In fact, if you compare the figures for this third quarter to last year's one, laptop sales alone are down by 26%. Now, the economic climate isn't helping, but neither is the emergence of smartphones and iPads, etc. People may be more investing in them. Dell having to turn itself around, but not quite managing it yet.
OK, thanks, Will. Well, and next, oil giant BP has been hit with the biggest criminal fine in US history. It's part of a $4.5 billion settlement related to the Deepwater Horizon disaster in the Gulf of Mexico. But there's more on the way for the company as civil claims, possibly worth billions of dollars, still need to be settled.
$4.5 billion, that's what BP will pay in penalties for the Deepwater Horizon disaster that caused the worst offshore oil spill in American history. The disaster has cost the company more than in just fines, and its legacy could hang over the company for years to come.
Getting this fine out of the way is a big hurdle for the stock price. It's a big overhang. So once this is done, it then leads on to the civil claims, which should be done in February, and this will set a sort of level, and people can start working out what level these civil claims are going to be.
After the oil spill in April 2010, BP's stock price in London went from 655p to hit the bottom in June at 304p. To date, the company's stock has only recovered a third of this drop in value.
In some ways, BP has come back down from being one of the biggest companies in the world by market capitalisation to just around the fourth. So that's a huge fallback, and I think it has a long way to climb if it's going to retake that particular position.
The company has been forced to sell assets worth billions of euros to settle all the claims. BP said it will defend itself against the remaining civil claims and contest allegations of gross negligence in those cases.
OK, that's it for business news for now. Thank you, Will. Just a few minutes' time, Lorna Shattuck will be giving you all the very latest developments on today's top story, that situation, of course, in Gaza. Well, as you're seeing, Israel has halted fire for the next few hours now that Egypt's Prime Minister has crossed over the border into Gaza. And in just a few minutes, Lorna will be speaking to our correspondent in Cairo about that visit. Stay tuned to France 24.